Beatles Forever Facebook group. So anyway, I was going to write you guys a whole thing about the Grammys experience, but I'm always on my iPad and I don't really like to write on there a lot because it's not an actual keyboard, and I hardly ever use my laptop because my laptop's outdated and it's really slow. Anyway, so I decided to do a video log. How exciting is that? So of course I'm sitting in front of my shrine, which you guys have maybe already seen, I don't know. And then I had my Let It Be sweatshirt on today, so it all just seems so fitting. Okay, so anyway, let me start from the beginning. Yeah, so I heard that Ringo and Paul were going to be reuniting at the Grammys, and I right away started looking into every source I knew. Like, I even know a guy who's the sound guy for Colt Ford, and this country rapper who, I mean, he's not that big of a deal, but anyways, I like text my friend. I was like, hey, does Colt Ford have connections to the Grammys? Is there any way you could get me a ticket? And of course that didn't work out. But then I heard about the lottery group to be a seat filler, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try this, knowing that it would be a pretty big long shot because it was 32,000 people and they picked 300. I guess it was a lottery. It was just like a shot in the dark. But then we also had to send a full body picture of ourselves, which I thought that was a little strange. I said for security purposes. I don't know what security purpose that served, but anywho. Okay, so yeah, so I got in. Oh my gosh. So I get in and I waited in line for like 2 hours, which I was a little bit grueling because I was in a dress, but whatever. It's worth it for the reuniting of Paul and Ringo. Oh, but then, yeah, anyway, I ended up hearing that it's at the Tribute the next night, so I'm like, oh my gosh, and I would try to trade in my ticket. I'm glad I didn't, seeing as how I ended up going to the Tribute too, with Beth. She's wonderful. So where am I? Okay, so yeah, so I wait in line for like 2 hours, and it's like, ugh. Then finally we get in there, and they kind of just like start sectioning us off in a way, and they head us down like close to the floor. But then they already start filling us in because those seat filler people are like really serious about like, okay, you need to be here, you need to be there, da da da. So yeah, if they see an empty seat, they want it full. They don't care like who's taking it. They just want that seat full. So anyway, so we're kind of like, me and this girl that I'd made friends with, we were like right above the floor, I would say, like very close to the stage, but on that side, and we were like probably like 8 seats up or something. That was the first seat that I got to sit in. And so I was there for a little while, like during the beginning and Beyonce's performance, and then those people came and I was escorted into a different seat. So in the very beginning, the seat filler people that are in charge kind of like push you around. And then there's like 300 of us, there's 15 of them. They can't keep track of all of us. So there's a point where you kind of just start taking care of it yourself. Like you have to get out of your seat, you see an open one, you kind of just go grab it. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get down to the floor. Don't let him keep putting me in seats back here. And then also, if you happen to be without a seat at one point, they'll make you go to the back, and you can possibly be stuck in a holding area where you end up not getting to see part of the show. Thank goodness I was never put in a holding area. I did get put in the very, very back one at one point of the floor, and guess whose performance? It was Paul's. I was like, really, really, the only time I'm put in the very back? But I'm not gonna complain. Whatever. But oh, I'm already at 4 minutes. Jeez. I hope you guys aren't getting bored with this. Anyway, okay, so let me see, where was I at? Oh yeah, so I make my way on down to the floor, and I find the first open seat that I can, and it was like right behind Bruno Mars and close to Taylor Swift. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then Ringo's performance came, so it was like perfect timing. So I was like, I think like 3rd row for seeing him sing Photograph, and it was so great. I loved it. He just like bops around, he's like so cute and tiny. I just want to hold him, put him in my pockets. yeah, so then I did that, and I just moved around the floor. But I made sure to kind of stay close to that area where Paul and Ringo and all of them were, because I knew that I wanted to end up being able to get a seat close to them. Because like Jay-Z and Beyonce were on the other side, which that's cool, but I don't really care that much. I did get behind Pat Smear of Nirvana at one point, and I thought that was kind of cool because they're legendary, you know. But so anyways, I hang around that area. I'm taken to the back at one point when I lose my seat during Paul's performance, but then I like come back up, you know. And I was telling, you know, everybody that I've talked to about it, the thing that I really learned from this is that the people in charge of seat filling care a lot more about where you aren't than where you are. Like, they're not, like, concerned if you're sitting in Beyonce's seat. They could really care less. They just want you to be in a seat. So they're like, oh, open seat, take it. So it was really easy to be able, once I, you know, got a hang of it, it was easy to be able to stay around them. So, you know, I'm kind of in that area. People come back, I'll get up, look for another seat, and all of a sudden, there it was. It was like a big halo just shining. Seat right beside Yoko Ono. And I was like, ooh! I go and I sit down, and I had it, and I sat there, and I didn't say anything to her because I was super nervous. I didn't want to seem like I was bothering her or anything. And then when I sat next to her, I realized just how old she is. She was just kind of like frail, and she just seemed strange. I mean, I guess she is strange. We all know that. But, so anyway, she had to go present, and she left, and then I had to move over next to Sean Lennon. Oh my gosh, I sat next to Sean Lennon's son. It was amazing. He looked so much like him. It was crazy. I think I was just kind of sitting there like, how is this my world right now? Like, how is this possible? Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm talking so long. You probably aren't going to watch all this. I'm sorry. So anyways, yeah, I got to talk to Sean, though, because one of the other seat fillers moved seats, and she dropped some makeup, and I picked it up, and he thought it was his girlfriend's, and he was like, he's so, like, quiet and, like, mousy. It was very strange. But anyways, he was like, oh, I think that's my girlfriend's, and, like, was, like, asking her, and then he, like, took it out of my hands, and he touched my hand, and I was like, oh, and he thanked me, and I said, you're welcome. This hat is driving me nuts. Sorry, guys. So anyways, there was that experience. And then one of Sean's friends, or maybe it works for him, I don't really know. He comes and he needs that seat. So I was like, oh, okay. So I get up out of that seat and I like go around the corner of the aisle. And Paul is just like having the best time, just like dancing in the aisleway and stuff. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you have to say something, like, take this opportunity, you have to talk to him, you have to talk to him. Maybe this time you can actually get words out of your mouth. So as I'm going around, I like try and make eye contact with him, and it happens, and he smiles as he's dancing. He's just kind of like, and anyways, so we smile, and then I was like, you did a really good job tonight, and he just kind of like smiled and nodded, and he's like, thanks, and then he like slightly extended his hand to me, and I took it and I shook it, and then I took my other hand and held it like I was like a little 5-year-old, and I was like, it's so nice meeting you, and I like just like, I don't know, it was so funny, but that's like all I could do. But I'm just happy that I made sense this time, and that I was able to actually like say something. And I'm sure he could tell I was really excited again, because I literally was like, it was so nice meeting you. I didn't show him my tattoo, though, because it was just such a small amount of time that I didn't want to, you know, be like, oh, you know, you signed me, blah, blah, and then have to go on my way. I would rather, I mean, I'll probably never get that opportunity, but if I had it, I would rather be able to be like, hey, you know, I saw you outside Lands, thanks for pulling me up, and have time to talk about it rather than just being a weirdo shoving it in his face. So, because I mean, like I said, it was like 30 seconds that I got to, you know, really quick talk to him and then go on my way. Oh, and then a seat opened up in the front again, like beside Sean Lennon, so I was able to go back and sit there. And it was just so cool to be able to sit there and be in their world. Like, I was a fly on the wall. I could hear them joking with each other and being funny and just being human. And one part of me almost wishes that I hadn't have sat there and experienced that, because it did make them like even more human to me. They weren't as much these fairy tales, because even when Paul signed me, I'm still like, he's this like almost like imaginary, you know, man. But being able to sit there, but I wouldn't trade it, even though it slightly made them more real to me. I still wouldn't, you know, take that away, because it was definitely quite the experience to be able to sit there and like just listen in a way and just hear what's going on and be a part of it, and be captured in photos with them. Oh, it's so amazing. Can't get over it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my evening. I don't think I'm leaving anything out of that. Oh, I'd never noticed, like Danny and Olivia were like, I think maybe like 3 seats behind me when I was sitting with Sean and Yoko. I wish I would have realized earlier. Maybe I would have tried to squeeze in there. You know, maybe I would have ended up in love with Danny Harrison. You know, no big deal. I mean, I could see it happening, right? But anyway, alright, I'm at 11 minutes. For all of you that watched this whole thing, I hope you enjoyed my video log about the Grammys. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.